Meta-Four was on their way to the ring, coming up from NXT to have a match against Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And before Meta-Four could even get in the ring, we hear KO interrupting, yelling, explaining why he had turned on Cody Rhodes and what the situation was. Next thing we know, Cody Rhodes is barreling down the ramp towards Kevin Owens. We have security, Nick Aldis, chaos ensues, Randy Orton shows up, Kevin Owens is elbowing Randy Orton in the face, Randy's not happy, Lash and Jackson are, over on the side just kind of looking around, unsure of what's going on. My initial reaction to this was I was not happy. I said out loud, why now? Why in the middle of this women's match that I'm excited for, that's gonna be a banger, are we deciding to do this? Of course, they're gonna do it in the middle of a women's match. I was doing the thing. I know a lot of people were on that as well. I've seen the tweets, I've seen the comments on the video, and while I hear you, let me rationalize why maybe we should take a little bit of a step back. The main complaint is we just had Monday Night Raw, the first 2-hour Monday Night Raw, and people were upset because we got a 10-woman tag match and it was over like that, and then the women really weren't showcased at all. While I understand and it's a valid complaint, I felt like it was a little over-sensationalized. What I don't like to see is people just saying shit just to say shit. And to say something like, oh, of course this is what's happening in Triple H's era. The women are just not getting the screen time that they should because of Triple H. First, let us rewind. Please remember who Triple H is. Triple H was in charge of NXT during the Black and Gold era. So not only are the complaints of him not knowing how to run a 2-hour show completely invalid because he originated in NXT, you also need to remember what his era of NXT was and who came out of it. How many women stars can you think of that originated in NXT? Some of them were larger than life and better in NXT, and some of them ended up being the 4 horsewomen. Some of the women's main events from NXT on takeovers were better than the men's matches. Triple H knows what to do with women. I truly don't think that that's a valid argument. Some things fall by the wayside, yes, but to say that he's actually targeting and neglecting that, it's a little bit of a stretch. Now, let me tell you the biggest difference between Monday's women's segments and Friday's women's segments. As far as the tag match between Meta-Four and Jade and Bianca go, yes, it was a quick match, but there was substance to it. Because while it was annoying to have Kevin Owens interrupt this match, it caused buzz. It made you pay more attention. I feel like instead of detracting from it and making it a distraction, it kind of made it a little more interesting, a little bit more of a buzz. The most important thing that I see is that they had Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come out to be ringside during the match. And Lash Legend got to showcase a big boot against Chelsea Green and throw Chelsea Green onto the announce table, wherein then Chelsea Green fell onto Michael Cole's lap and had a whole fiasco where Michael Cole is gagging at the announce table, talking about how bad Chelsea Green smells. So yes, while the match was short and while Meta-Four lost, it was memorable. It made an impact. It had a height. It had an ending. And not only that, it's setting stuff up for later. Because not only did Lash Legend look dominant against Jade Cargill and would love to see that matchup in the future, there is the possibility of a Meta-Four versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, possibly for a #1 contenders match. So either Meta-Four could come back up to SmackDown and face Chelsea and Piper, or Chelsea and Piper could go down to NXT to face them. And with Chelsea as red hot as she is, that could possibly bring the casual viewer's eyes of SmackDown to NXT to watch that match. Not everything needs to be about the amount of time. Sometimes quality and what you do with it means way more than the amount of time. And that was showcased perfectly in how they handled the amount of time on Friday versus how they handled the amount of time on Monday. Also, the one thing I thought about when it came to interrupting the women's tag match is the fact that had it happened between any other match on that roster, one, I think the interruption did bring light to the match. I think it added something interesting. But if it was gonna be between like LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes, they wouldn't have been like Lash and Jackson. They would have been not as confused. They would have wanted to swing and fight. They would have involved themselves. The ladies were able to just kind of stand there and be like, what the hell's going on? Whereas if it were LA Knight and Carmelo, there would have been swinging, and then there would have been just way too much chaos and things intertwining. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the talk of how you have people switching brands at the moment. There seemed to be a lot of discourse about that in my chat. So yes, we had some Raw stars show up on SmackDown tonight. A lot of stars that you did not see Monday. And if there's any time to do this, this feels like the perfect time. Not only are we going into Crown Jewel, where we have the champions from each roster going head to head, you also have Survivor Series coming up, where maybe, yes, War Games, but maybe we will see a little bit more of a SmackDown versus Raw format like we have in the past. Maybe even some NXT. Don't give me the, oh, well, what does it even mean? No, they shouldn't be here because they're on Raw. They shouldn't be here because they're on SmackDown. They literally can do whatever they want. I have constantly said that the brand split is made up and the rules don't matter. As long as it fits the narrative, and it's not like they do it all the time, but as long as it helps move something along, I think it's completely fine. So yeah, we had Liv on SmackDown, which made sense because she's going to be against Nia Jax at Crown Jewel. But we also saw Rhea Ripley, and we didn't get to see Rhea Ripley Monday for a magnitude of reasons, I'm sure. So let's just take a deep breath and kind of enjoy the fact that we had an amazing episode of SmackDown. It was a great episode. The only thing that would have made it better for me is if Charlotte Flair maybe showed up, but I wonder how far off I am from getting that dream made a reality. The other main notable thing is definitely the return of Jimmy Uso to the SmackDown roster, and the alluding to the fact that they want to bring Jay into the bloodline to help Roman. I don't think Jay is going to go along with that right off the bat. I think it's going to take a little bit of convincing, but I'm excited to see the family discourse. It was kind of crazy to see both Roman and Jimmy back on SmackDown, because it just was they had such a presence when they did it before, and now you can kind of see how broken they are, how broken Roman is, how he doesn't have his Wiseman, he doesn't have his tribe, he only has Jimmy, and the give and take between him and Jimmy is a lot different than before, when Roman was just calling all the shots and being a bit more of a dictator. Hope you cannot hear my cat meowing. Anyway, this is just a quick little one-off. I wanted to talk about SmackDown. Those were the main highlights and the main thing that I really wanted to talk about. Let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comments, and let me know what you think is going to happen Monday. Do you expect Monday to be a better show? Do you agree that Friday handled their time and the women's division better than Monday? Thanks for watching. We will be live on Monday night for Monday Night Raw, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little bit before. You can watch with me live both here on YouTube and on Twitch. Take care, guys. Have a great night.